Being an additional insured on any policy when you're hiring a contractor is super important. If you are a contractor, it is super important that you're prepared to do that for any job you have. Hello everybody, Harold, McClatchy Insurance Agency. And today I want to talk a little bit about the importance of additional insureds as it relates to your insurance policy. One of the examples I think a lot of people encounter in this world is construction. And when I say construction, this can be construction on your home, whether you're doing a new kitchen or putting a roof on, or construction on an office building that you own for your business. And it's super important to make sure that when you're getting started on that construction, you're planning on if something bad happens, who is responsible? In the basic sense, the minute you hire someone to come on site to put a roof on your building or do construction like you see behind me, you want to make sure that that business has three main coverages in place. The first and most important is general liability insurance. You can be named as an additional insured on someone's general liability policy. It would be for the scope of the work and the project being done. Your company would want to know what that is if you're the contractor. And if you're the customer, you want to make sure that it shows up, that you see your name on the bottom left of that policy. You can't necessarily be an additional insured on every policy, but you still want to make sure that they have workers' compensation and auto if they're using auto for that business. There are some other things like employment practices liability. You should make sure that's on the certificate. Those are all super important. You should do it every time, whether it's your home or not, because these are things that could actually real world happen. On the general liability, and we're talking about additional insureds, what does that mean? If I own the building and something the contractor does, they hire a roofer and there's an accident, someone falls off of a ladder, if a truck backing up toward the building hits the building or hits someone, all of those are areas that, because it's your building and your premises, you could be liable for. What an additional insured is simply, I get to be a part of your insurance policy as the contractor. They defend me as if I was you, so that I have coverage for things I can't control, of who you hired as the contractor, how well they drive, how safe they are. All of these things are super important. That's just one example of an additional insured, but I wanted to make sure we highlighted that because we see it all the time. Even my neighbor who's getting a new roof put on their home, you want to make sure that you're asking those questions. A personal insurance policy for your home or a rental may not include, and usually does not include, workers' compensation coverage. And for your homeowners, it's very limited. They're not looking to cover contractors. So again, making sure that you're using someone who's naming you as an additional insured is usually of no cost to the contractor. They're used to being asked that question. You want to make sure you're not missing out on that coverage, because come claim time, you want to be able to look at it and say, the contractor, they hired him, this is something they did. I want to make sure to the contractor, you look at them and say, you're going to take care of this, right? And as a contractor, you should be able to look at it and say, I have insurance for that, we'll take care of it. So just to highlight, being an additional insured on any policy when you're hiring a contractor is super important. If you are a contractor, it is super important that you're prepared to do that for any job you have, to make sure that if you hire subcontractors, they have insurance as well and that they are properly naming you. Every time someone is an additional insured, they're getting the permission and right to utilize your coverage if it is something that you did that caused a claim. So always making sure you're covered, always thinking about how to make sure you're protected. That's the smart way to use your insurance. And at McClatchy Insurance, we're always trying to do the best we can to be your advisor to make smart decisions. Have a good day.